Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Italian Wine Podcast, as Wine2wine 2020 media partner,
is proud to present a series of sessions chosen to highlight key themes and ideas
and recorded during the two-day event
held on November 23rd and 24th, 2020.
Wine2wine 2020 represented the
First ever fully digital edition of the Business to Business Forum. Visit wine2wine.net
and make sure to attend future editions of Wine2wine Business Forum.
I'm on screen now. I think that means that we're starting, Anthony. Here we are. Hello from both New York and Chicago. And if you are here, hopefully, you are here for reaching through the screen, delivering powerful, impactful, dramatic presentations that take a whole new set of skills, which, Anthony, both you and I have been hard at work on, haven't we?
Oh, my God. I don't know about you, Belinda, but I need a drink. Shall we do a little toast?
Listen, I mean, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. It is 5 o'clock in Verona, isn't it? Cheers.
I have a beautiful Benanti Edda Bianco from Sicily.
I mean, I have a little mini, but I have plenty of them in the fridge. So I've got a little rosé champagne from Moet. Sorry, not drinking in theme today, but I know that there's a lot of champagne consumption in Italy. So happy to celebrate that today. So we're here to talk about cracking the code, right, Anthony? Delivering two different styles of virtual experiences, as both of us have been doing since March. I started on March 16th with my first one, and I know you also started quite early on.
Yeah, I probably started a little bit later. It took me a while to get out of my paralysis. I was literally paralyzed on the couch for about 2 weeks, watching all of my events cancel like dominoes. I lost over 18 events within weeks of email. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
But Belinda, I thought we would kick off this way and talk about what our live experiences are like, and then talk about how that's changed completely.
I love it.
That's a good way to kick off. So delivering a live in-person talk is a powerful, impactful, dramatic, and most importantly, fun experience, or at least it should be. And all one has to do is watch someone like Paul Mabray delivering one of his classic, acrobatic, high-energy keynote speeches at Wine2wine to watch a master speaker in action. And it really involves action, not just standing at a lectern but working all angles of a stage to engage an entire audience. Look out across the room, and an audience is measurable. Feeling the audience, listening to you, having their undivided attention is telling, and you either have them or you don't. Delivering a well-timed, well-positioned quip offers an opportunity to break the ice and hopefully get a reassuring laugh from the audience. This morning, for example, Stevie Kim took to the stage in Verona to kick off Wine2wine 2020 by saying, "I'd like to welcome everyone here," and then deadpanned, "There's no one here." I laughed too. I'm not really sure that everyone at home laughed, but the sad reality is that now, without a live audience, all those familiar elements and feelings and techniques are literally trapped behind the screen. There's no stage, there's no live audience to react, and our audience's attention spans are likely much shorter than if they were in a meeting room or an auditorium or a theater with us. So how to reach through the screen? When I pitched this idea to Wine2wine, I wanted to partner with you, Belinda, because the Wall Street Journal recently named you the global virtual wine experience guru last spring. I think you were.
I'm blushing.
I wanted us to share what we've learned since the pandemic postponed all of our live speaking gigs, because we are both, I dare say, thriving virtually while hosting two very different styles of virtual events. So I want to start with you, Belinda. How did you become the global virtual wine experience guru?
Well, before we get to that, I just wanted to take a peek at the live discussion, and thank you to everyone who's already participating. I see some highs from Tuscany and also from Poland and from Geneva. Woohoo! We truly are global today. Wow. I've been for my experiences. Just to answer your question and share, my name is Belinda Chang. I'm based in Chicago, although I've been on screen with people from 150 countries since March 2020, and places that I have visited and places that I also haven't visited. So it's been great fun. And like you, I made my career in wine for many years, a few decades. I'm not going to tell you how many, but basically, for the most part, in the beginning, in restaurants, many restaurants that I know I've greeted many of you in, at Charlie Trotter's in Chicago, at the Modern in New York City, at the Fifth Floor in San Francisco, and in a lot of restaurants that I put together the wine programs and beverage programs for Jean-Georges through Starwood, all over the world. So I started out with that. And in March, all of my clients canceled on me through all of 2020. And I sat on my couch for a few minutes. And then I decided to get myself a Zoom account and figure out what to do, because obviously in real life events were not going to happen for at least the foreseeable future. And now I think we see for quite a long time. So I started right away, and I started a thing on Sundays, which I was so glad to hear a few reach outs from people who have attended my global Sunday virtual boozy brunch, which happens every Sunday. And we've now done for 37 weeks and brings in a drink experience, a food experience, and also some kind of lifestyle experience. I'm hoping you'll come, Anthony, for the next one, where we learn a dance routine that you can do with a glass of wine in your hand.
All right.
So that's what
I'm ready to dance.
And I was so excited to hear about you. And we just connected a couple weeks ago as we prepared for this particular panel and to share what we've learned. I want to hear more, and I hope everyone also learned some great lessons from what you are doing virtually, because we both, spend time on big stages with big audiences in places like the Food and Wine Aspen Classic. And now you are also doing another version of this sort of virtual experience.
Yeah, thanks, Belinda. I think what separates what the work we do, which is very similar, is that where we overlap is like the Food and Wine Classic in Aspen, where we're out there, in front of the big tent, 250 people, and we're doing, we're raising the roof and going crazy. The bulk of my work for the past, 15 years has been private client tastings. So I can never boast about them. I can't share them. I can't film them. I could barely even tweet about them or post them on social, because everything is confidential. There's no screenshots of all the Zoom screens.
NDAs, right? You've got all the NDAs that you've signed.
Exactly right. People barely will let me mail them wine, and I'm just trying to mail you free wine. People, let me mail you the wine. But what that means is that I had to turn to all of those private clients of mine and say, this is still possible, but it's going to take a few extra steps. And that was where the challenge came. I mean, I want to talk about this further in depth with you, but it was literally figuring out how to make it easier, how to get them to wrap their heads around how this would look, because I didn't even know what Zoom was. 100% had no idea what Zoom was. My wife, Tony, who's the marketing director for Food and Wine Magazine, saw me on the couch sitting catatonic and said, get off your butt and figure out what Zoom is, because that's what's happening. And I started to do my homework, but I had to then sell that to clients who had no idea what I was talking about. And then also say to them, no, we can get wine to them, but we have to figure out the whole minefield of getting wine shipped across interstate boundaries and finding retail partners who are actually motivated and agile and nimble enough to do it quickly and get it to their houses and then kick off the event. So we're
really here. I love that the title just came up on the Chiron. It's Wine2Wine Business Forum, sharing business ideas. So I think we're two people who could have just, called in sick for the rest of the year and said, we have no more business to do. But I think it's pretty great that both of us figured out what to do with our businesses and fulfill this need. I mean, I've been reading all the New York Times and LA Times and Washington Post articles talking about what humans need right now, and that is to connect and to be comforted and to engage. And I think these wine experiences are a beyond perfect way to give that gift to all the people who need it. And I also think it's really interesting when we were talking, you were saying that, speakers, people like us who, our bread and butter was in real life experiences, sometimes in restaurants, sometimes in big tents. We need to reimagine what's possible instead of just trying to recreate, right? So we've all been to the wine dinner with someone speaking. We've all sort of watched a webinar with a winemaker strolling through a vineyard, sharing all the beauty. But I think what you and I are doing is very different from that. And we've created something that is completely different, that is well loved. I know you've done hundreds. I can't even believe how many of these experiences you've executed for corporate clients. And I've done about 100 right now. And I've done them from guests from 6 people to 300,000 live. So it feels really good that we figured this out. Can you share a little more about that and how we're sort of recreating experiences here and doing them online?
It's yeah, Belinda. I'm not trying to beat you here. I'm doing much smaller events. Mine are very intimate. Usually, like the perfect Zoom is 25 boxes, so 24 people plus me, and that would include some of the clients and then their clients. I have done the big up to maybe 100, 150, but I would say the bulk of my work is the intimate ones, and I've done over 150, and there's a lot coming up in the next month. I would say, first and foremost, because we can't feel the audience, we can't see them. A lot of times, like especially I would imagine with you with 300,000 people, you can't see anyone. So it's like that webinar mode, but you have to involve the audience. So there are a number of ways to get the audience involved. Most of the virtual platforms even have the interactive tools like polling, chat, Q&A, breakout rooms. I typically ask guests to play Wine Jeopardy with me. And let's raise the glass really quickly to Alex Trebek, who those of us in the States know, 34 years he led a show called Jeopardy here in the U.S., but I always play Wine Jeopardy, often asking guests to answer the question in question form. And it's a great icebreaker that gets people really involved. Then, of course, there's the chat function, and you could, like I always say, like, let's break the ice by asking a question before the event even starts, like, how are we feeling today, or which of the 4 wines do you predict you'll like most? How many people think that the Riesling you have in front of you is going to be sweet, which is always a great conversation because most people see that iconic Riesling bottle and think, oh my God, I hate sweet wine. It doesn't even matter if it's not even Riesling, it could be Gruner, but they just see that bottle and they think that. And I love to burst through it and say, no, it's going to be, just trust me. I also like to say, so what's your favorite wine to drink when there isn't a wine expert asking? Because that's always what I find, Belinda. People say to me like, well, you're the expert. What do I know? And I'm like, you know exactly how to order whatever you want on the menu, how to have your steak cooked, your salad dressed, your bun toasted. You should absolutely know what your wine is. You just don't want to tell me, but let's do it. Yeah. This is a safe space. There is no wrong answer except one. And that answer is White Zinfandel. But other than that, it's a safe space.
I also love that we both kind of came to the same conclusion over the course of doing lots of these experiences for various clients. Mine is also a little consumer facing because the virtual Boozy Brunch is free to the public, but we work with various brands to bring their brand stories to life. So in some ways, it is a sort of paid advertorial and can be an endorsement type, third-party endorsement type thing. But it's really fun because we have millions of people that have come to experience it. But we both decided that Zoom and/or all face-to-face platforms were our preferred, because what we're talking about here with using the polling functions and having games and also being very engaged in the chats is we want to have as close to a real life experience as possible, in that both you and I think agree, we love to be eye to eye. I see a lot of Instagram lives and Facebook lives and things like that happening out there. And I think yours and my goal is to max the engagement and to bring in new customers and to broach new relationships from near and far, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that's for me, that's everything. I think that's why we've been kindred spirits for 2 decades, but not being able to connect physically. And by the way, like I warn, I'm completely inappropriate right now because I'm the guy who doesn't want to just shake your hand. I grab the elbow, there's like the chest bump, then there's the pat on the back, the double kiss, all of that, all completely illegal right now. But so the best we can do is reach out virtually through the screen by engaging as much as possible, even encouraging follow-up. I only thought of this probably halfway through the summer, where I would say to everybody at the end, by the way, look at my name with the impossible speed bump in the last name Giglio, which everyone says Giglio, but look at that. .com is my website. You could ask me questions straight through there. There's nothing, I'm not hawking anything on my website, but you could reach out to me. You could also at Anthony Giglio through Twitter, through Instagram. Reach out, please DM me anytime. And I'm happy to answer when I can, within reason. It might not be within 10 seconds, but I will get back to you within a day, I hope.
I think people can take pictures from Costco and ask for your wine recommendations and things like that.
Belinda, I got one question, which was, dude in men's room with wine list, date waiting, and he snapped a photo. I was afraid to. It was thankfully a wine list and a tile floor.
I mean, so what's happening for both of us is we're becoming trusted advisors for a lot of people in this virtual space, when both of us were that before already, myself as a sommelier in a lot of restaurants, and yourself in being an education person and doing all of these sort of experiences in real life. I think it's really neat that we've managed to find this kind of connection with all of these people. I mean, for brunch every week, I'm so stunned when I see someone from Belize or someone from France or from Italy. You know, we do it at 1 p.m. Central Time here, which is total appropriate time to start drinking. It's 2 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's, what is it, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. But, you know, we love to see people from all over Western Europe joining us as well, because, you know, you can have a drink with us then too. It doesn't have to be brunch. It can be dinner or digestif as well.
Belinda, the word brunch, it opens it up to any time you want, honestly. I mean,
there you go. That's it. You can have breakfast and lunch together anytime you want, anywhere in the world. So we have a bunch of people from all over, and I love that Michelle is noting that this eye-to-eye online is absolutely the best way to engage. So there are a lot of different platforms you can do that on, and there are platforms that have stages where you can have multiple people and green rooms and all that kind of stuff. Anthony, have you worked with any platforms aside from Zoom to do these experiences?
Only twice. I'm not going to mention names because I didn't love the experience.
Oh.
Sorry.
And this is not a paid advertorial for Zoom. Neither of us is.
Oh, no, so what I was going to say is, believe it or not, yeah, with no love from Zoom, they're not paying me to do anything. I do love the experience of Zoom better than most.
Yeah, and that takes us kind of to the next part, which is we had both talked about breakout rooms. And I know that in sort of event speak, people are calling those private lounges or private tables like you might have in a restaurant experience. Those are super cool and a great way, again, to engage. And I think I've done it for charity galas. So, right, I mean, these poor foundations and charities that used to raise a huge portion of their operating revenue for the year through some kind of fabulous gala. They're now selling private tables, which are essentially the breakout room function, where you can have it led by a sommelier, led by a winemaker or winery owner. So it's a really cool use of that function. I love the breakout room thing. Super cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, Belinda, I what's really funny is I'm never part of the breakout room. I'm usually the warmer-upper for the breakout room. So again, since I'm doing most of these with smaller private groups, the host wants me to get everybody relaxed and engaged and feeling good after 4 bottles of wine tasted at least 3 times per wine. And then they'll say, okay, we're going to take off and go into breakout rooms. Anthony, thanks so much. And I'm gone. So that's the end of it. So I've seen them used, but I haven't been in them.
It's really fun. It's an experience. I mean, I've also been to those events where, you know, the DJ is in the large room. So everybody wants to be jumping up and down and dancing with their wine glasses there. And then if you want to have a more serene moment with maybe a bartender that can reach back and tell you what to make with what's behind your bar, you can do that experience. So now you can do many experiences all in one, which is pretty amazing. Okay. So I wanted to talk about this next part because I think you've really mastered it and you figured it out long before I did. I'm following in your footsteps now a little bit in terms of how you become a virtual speaker and also an event planner, kind of all in one.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, in fact, when you mentioned before, like when you're on the brunches and you see people in Belize or around the world, that's something I've actually traveled to host seminars, or all over the place. But to have to then work on it from here and sending wine abroad, even to Canada, is impossible. You have to. I've had to learn so many different vehicles to get wine to people abroad, and then try and sell it to the client that I might not be able to match everything exactly. But if the topic of wine number 2 is Chablis, it's not necessarily about the producer, it's about the wine and the conversation about Chablis and its place in the world of Burgundy and Chardonnay, et cetera. So like there's that kind of creative license I have to take with it too. But trying to ship around the world has become, and I'm getting more and more requests from Europe to send throughout Europe, Asia, the Middle East. It's been astounding. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm learning more and more platforms and services that could help me get around the world, because God knows it's hard enough to get wine from New York to Chicago. As you know, it's not allowed in our crazy city.
Crazy. Yeah.
To our friends in Europe, I just want to joke that I want to say that I usually joke we are 50 federal republics that don't get along. And that's not politics, that's wine. That is wine.
It's a little crazy. I think I've been following in your footsteps and been inspired by you. Now we're sending what we call experience boxes because, as we all know, wine is a wonderful way to connect and to comfort. You can geek out on it. But I think most of the people that you and I are dealing with for the larger groups are consumers. And they love to receive sort of a gorgeous box, not just with a couple bottles in it, but I always create sort of a tasting mat so that they set up their vignette. We might also recommend flowers or candelabras so that they really turn it into a full experience. That's an hour, not just of me going on and droning about a wine in particular, and also connecting, of course, but also so that maybe we can make the wine into a little bit of a cocktail. So everybody's up and moving, and or maybe we're creating a little custom snack using spices that were included in the kit. So I've been having a lot of fun, including not just wines, but also spirits and also spices and truffles and things like that. So people can be standing throughout the course of the experience and having it multiphasic in a way. We can do the tasting here. We can go into the kitchen and make a little snack together. I just can't stand it. And I'm sure, Anthony, you are the same when you're doing any of these experiences and you see this. Right? We know we've lost them if they're on their phone. If they're doing this and they're snapping photos of it because they're going to post the experience, then I'm really happy and I feel like I've done my job. But if I lose that eye-to-eye connection, I do something drastic to get them back.
Yeah. Belinda, I was going to say, that's been the evolution for me, that in the beginning I was, first, like if we look at there were 3 steps of my entertaining evolution, which were, in the beginning during lockdown, we wanted people to stay home, so we'd ship them wine, but then we would say, don't go to the store, raid your pantry, raid your fridge, and let's have a charcuterie contest throwdown. So we'd have best in show off, show your charcuterie platter, and we would judge them all, like everyone would take shots, and then we'd hashtag them or pin them, do them within a Slack or something. But that was the first thing, which was don't leave the house. It's really simple. You have a million things in the house, including any manner of junk food, pate to potato chips. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, and then it became, clients would say, well, I want to send a cheese package from Murray's Cheese in New York. I'm like, okay, great, do that. But then you have separate packages coming. And then it evolved to what you're doing. And what I figured out, probably halfway through the summer, which was, let's create beautiful custom boxes and packages that include everything. So you have this gorgeous kit that comes to you. And depending on the budget, it could be a beautiful box within a box that opens and has all the compartments that are custom made to all the little accoutrements, including, nuts and cheeses and honeys and you name it. So that's really where it's gone. You've taken it to the next level. I mean, you're shipping egg whites. Egg whites.
And aquafaba. I think for these virtual experiences, it's very hard to hold people's attention for 1 hour. And obviously, if these are sponsored experiences from brands and our friends who own great wineries, we want to give them as much time as possible to weave in the brand story and the winery story. So, it's been really fun for us for brunches to find, for instance, a family-owned winery that has sort of a generations-old recipe that they think is the perfect match for their Sangiovese-based red. And then we have the guests not just learning about the wine itself and about the story and about the family, but we weave in food and all of the culture. And I think it also helps because then the consumers who are watching this experience think to themselves, okay, so whenever we buy this wine, we're going to make this dish, or every time we have a dish like this, it's going to make us think of the wine. So it's not just like your usual tasting. There's so much more going on, which I think is really great and is why we can do it, casually on a Sunday. I know most of the events you're doing, they have probably very specific targets in terms of like internal team engagement and or client engagement. Right. So, you don't have to be as crazy. Like with mine, I need people moving around and doing stuff, dancing, yoga, tarot card reading, all of it.
What do you mean you don't have to be as crazy? I want to be as crazy, but I have to be very, thank God I dropped the tie. There's no more tie ever again, but I will put on the pocket square for you. But
nice.
but I have to. For me, it's all this background engagement for weeks leading up to it, which are, don't mention this. Make sure you stroke this person. bring up this one, congratulate this person, don't mention anything about this, or this, and then these are the people we're talking to. These are the people you don't have to talk to at all. They're on the team. It's so much more engagement than I've ever had to deal with before. It's fascinating. But by the way, I wanted to say really quickly that your egg white shipping, Belinda, I think Pfizer has stolen your technology to ship the first samples at what is it? I do realize I never answered your question fully before, but to say so for me, it's about these retail connections, which have to be really nimble and ready to send hundreds of bottles out. So they need the inventory. So there's time to gather that inventory and then gather addresses while they're gathering the wine, and then get everything out within hopefully 2 weeks. I mean, people think, it should be like if you use a platform like wine.com, which can ship within 72 hours, that's great if it all goes smoothly. But I'm never willing to take those chances because we have a lot of important clients that we can't disappoint. So I want at least 2 weeks of a buffer. So there's an information gathering. There's figuring out the shipping. Are we paying for expedited or not? How do we keep costs down? There's rehearsal times beforehand. So that's when all these extras are thrown at me like, oh, by the way, so-and-so is going to pop on, but they're not going to put their camera on. Don't even acknowledge that they're there. There's instructions to guests that I send out in advance saying, please chill everything, even the red wines, because 45 minutes by the time we get to them, they'll be at a perfect temperature. And that's a whole new learning curve for so many consumers who still drink their red wine at 90 degrees, which still throws me. Offering them something extra, you're the queen of the extras. For me, it's sort of like, I wrote a lot of books 10 years ago, but I could certainly send you something, or my favorite corkscrew, or something like that. Also offering them like a VIP session, or I'll go shopping for you. Like, give me a link to your favorite website for your top VIPs to your retail site, and I'll go in and click my favorite 5 X, Y's, and Z's, and then send them to that as a giveaway. Also send takeaways from the tasting, all these things. It's been crazy.
But I think also, Anthony, that's a testament to you and your ingenuity that, it's a pretty crowded space right now, I feel like, for virtual experiences, right? You can even be a vendor of experiences on Zoom, and, everyone on Eventbrite is now offering virtual experiences, but yet, you're very booked. I'm almost booked. So people have a little bit of space on my calendar, but
we're doing very different style.
But it's doing more and making it more engaging and making it more of a success for the client, no matter what it is they're trying to do. For a winery, obviously, they're trying to connect with new customers and sell more wine and share their story. And then, for the corporate clients, they've got some goals, right?
I was going to say, Belinda, I'm the first to admit that I am not the sommelier. I'm not the master sommelier. I'm not going to talk to you about the subsoils of the Rheingau. And if you want that, I could send you in plenty of directions. I'm the guy who's going to give you just enough to know, just to walk away with having learned so much more than you ever imagined coming into it, even like simply how to taste, and then tasting it without food and with food, and see what happens, and then to make everybody laugh. I think that's why I have so many repeat clients coming back to me, because it's not just a wine tasting; it's an experience, literally an experience. And I'm short of dancing like you, which I wouldn't mind doing, by the way. I'm happy to do it. I'm trying to get people to lean forward and listen and start laughing. Like, that's the whole point. It's like that's like from live, where you know how to do that. How you time something, you pause just the right moment, and you look at the crowd, and then you deadpan like Stevie did this morning. Like, doing that on virtual is tougher. So I'm constant. I'm setting up the joke and hoping that they're laughing. I could see people silently laughing, but that's the goal. They leave here thinking, I never learned so much and laughed so much. It's got to be.
I love it. Yeah. Someone had mentioned in the chats that they really loved this seminar from Provence. And I've done actually some series both for Vin de France and Vin de Bourgogne and Loire Valley wines over the last couple of weeks. And it was all just about, just like you said, not just about giving tech details to consumers, but really helping them with shopping lists and teaching them what to eat along with the Cremant de Loire or whatever we were tasting that day. And it's been a lot of fun. Okay, I see a couple questions for us, Anthony, in the chats, and I want to address the first one to you. It says, many people believe that you need to be technology savvy in order to kick off the virtual exploration. What are your opinions about that? And also, do you have any tips for wineries who are going to begin their virtual adventure? Well, I would just say call us, right? We're happy to help.
Exactly. we can't tell you right now. You have to call us directly. No, I'm kidding. Well, that like again, I think all of us, like I think you definitely were up, had a leg up on me on this. But for me, I learned it all literally like Googling how to do this, how to do this, how to do this. Zoom sends out tons of great information too, and then I learned all the other platforms as well by just researching all those, so I knew what the pros and cons were and just how to get them up and running. And then remembering that you needed a really, an interesting background. You're not supposed to, I don't know about you, but I'm never sitting down. Like I stand up as if I'm on stage. Like, I have the camera set up.
I can feel your energy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cause so like, I would say I've not sat down for one single tasting in since March. I mean, I'm up and I'm trying not to move around too much. Cause I'm all hands like this, but
what do you do?
But for winery, I've watched a few wineries. I've just been a spectator watching some wineries, and they try to take the camera outside and walk through the vineyards or walk through the cellar, and everything stalls and spins and audio cuts out. Like that's super next level. You need a production company to do that.
Yeah,
I think it's great to be in your beautiful cellar that none of us have. Right, you need Belinda to do that, and then I'll co-host. So it's very simple. We have the whole package right here for you.
Right here. No, I think you're right. I mean, when I first started the first few episodes of Virtual Boozy Brunch, I collaborated with TV hosts and producers, because what we're doing now is we're showing off our quality and integrity and authenticity on camera. So, we take a few tips from how they do it when they're filming movies, and also I think more significantly live TV. But we have another question, which I think will be a great one. I think each of us should maybe give at least one of these. Can you give 3 do and don'ts based on your experiences with virtual experiences? What are yours, Anthony?
Oh gosh. Do's and I want to hear yours first. So
okay. I'm going to say, well, one is do, make your setup beautiful, right? I think, we've learned this from our in real life experiences, and all of you have as well with your beautiful dinners and beautiful restaurants. I mean, you're making a statement about your brand, your wine, your winery by what your background looks like, right? So, I've seen a lot where people are sitting on their couches, which is totally fine, but, zhuzh it up a little bit. I always have props that are apropos to what I'm talking about, so I can grab them if people are interested. And I think that people are loving getting all over the world, are loving get a peek at your home or wherever you're live streaming from. And we'll ask a lot of questions and you get a lot of engagement that way. I think I have a second one, and then I'll hand it over to you. And that's don't look down. Right? Yeah. Have you been on a virtual experience where someone is really like enmeshed in the chats and doing one of these? I mean, they're very inexpensive teleprompters, additional screens. You can also have a social producer, which is maybe just a son or a daughter who's taking care of the chats while you're giving your jazz hands to the camera. Those are my 2. What do you got, Anthony?
I was going to say, like, I really think that it's worth doing a test with a friend with great taste. I happen to have a photographer who lives next door who during lockdown, so we really weren't even socializing at all. He saw me do a tasting with a big group in New York City of event planners. And he said, you need to move your camera. You need better lighting. I'm dropping a bunch of stuff on your doorstep, and then call me and I'll tell you how to set up the lights. And he gave me beautiful lighting and told me to cock my camera sideways because I was sitting, I had the bookcase straight behind me. And he said, so we could see some depth. It looks like you're in front of a fake prop, but I assure you, all these bottles are regularly replaced. They are real. I am drinking them.
But your setup, Anthony, it says something about you. You care about Campari and Averna, which I know you do, and I do too. But I mean, you're definitely making a statement with what you have behind you. I'm going to move on to the next question because I found a bunch of them, if that's okay, Anthony.
Please.
So the next one is your video and lighting quality are really great. Do you have any tips in terms of camera setup? We were talking about this earlier. Somehow, this is my live workspace. It's a small 700 square foot apartment on Lakeshore Drive here in Chicago. And when I first started, I bought a bunch of these, right? Do you have one of these too?
I have a mega one that Food and Wine sent me for the classic at home. And it's I swear, it's about 3 feet in diameter.
I mean, it's a pretty small amount of equipment, I mean, you do need a computer that is fast enough. I've been using, I think you are too, a Mac Air laptop, and that is definitely right, fast enough to be able to do HD video. I know a lot of people are doing video streaming and filming videos on their iPhone, but I think you lose something with that crop. Right? I think both of you and I are widescreen. You can do the same shot, I believe, on an iPad as well. People want to see sort of the panorama if they can and sort of visit you. So, I mean, I think those are really the two things you need, and you can be off and running. Of course, you can take it a little further, as Anthony said, and hire a production company and have somebody doing the chats for you and doing the spotlighting for you and all that kind of stuff, which I am lucky to have now. And Anthony has a solution for that too, which is really great. Okay, I have another one. It's from Nitsa in Piedmont, and they would like to know what we suggest for topics for social media posts from wineries. Do you have some ideas for that, Anthony? What would be interesting to the consumer in terms of the posts that they're posting?
I mean, for consumers, because we're talking to the trader, you might roll your eyes at these suggestions, but for consumers, I think it's so interesting that they have no idea about the seasonality of releases, when new things are released, when you're picking, when you're waiting, pictures from the vineyards of what's happening. I think that's super interesting. I mean, that's as geeky as we should get, but I think people have no idea, the production schedules and how that stuff comes about. Someone asked me last week, isn't this Beaujolais season because Beaujolais Nouveau is coming out the third Thursday of November? I'm like, yeah, but let's really talk about Beaujolais Cru when they come out in the spring. That's when you should pay attention to Beaujolais. It's things like that, that. But so for wineries, I would say it's absolutely newsworthy to talk about what you're doing, not just bottle shots of our, don't you love our latest whatever, the bottle shot and the wine glass open.
Berta, Ksenia from Berta also asked that same question. And I would agree with you, Anthony, 1,000%. I think the other thing is people love things that are like insider information, right? That they can share with their colleagues and their bosses and their friends that make them sound smart, right? Wow, did you know that right now Berta is doing leaf thinning and it's looking like the vintage is going to be X, Y, or Z? I think a lot of the classes that I've given, especially for people in business, they love to just have sort of little one-liners or sort of insider tips and tricks that make them sound smart about wine. So if we can give them those kinds of things, I think they're generally really happy. I don't know about you, Anthony, but lately I've been giving a lot of the sort of stump the sommelier little tips.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's one of the games we play is try and fool me or try and make me guess. But I'm getting mission control in my ears saying we have to go because the translator is needed.
Oh no! Let the translator go. It was so much fun, and we went overtime.
It was too fast. We didn't even get to finish our wine. So, cheers, wine2wine. Thank you for having us. We hope to be back next year. And until then, you know where to find us. Cheers, everybody.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, chin chin.